Welcome back to the Sound for More channel. It's Leo speaking. Today I have the great pleasure to introduce you to Surface Builder from 4Pockets, a fantastic AUV-free MIDI controller which allows you to create surfaces and then add buttons, faders, dials, which you can use to send MIDI messages, and in so doing, simplifying the remote control of other apps and parameters. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe as it helps with growing the channel. Additionally, if you would like to participate in the giveaway and get the opportunity to own this fantastic app from 4Pockets, please do follow the instruction in the video description. Please do remember to redeem your code, going back and checking after 2 days if the names of the winners have been announced. And if they have, at the time that you're watching this video, of course, the giveaway has concluded. Again, thank you very much. The app itself works as a standalone, but I think it works better as an AUV-free MIDI controller. So for that purposes, we are inside AUM. We are going to create first an audio channel, then a MIDI channel, and then another audio channel. In the last audio channel, let's select a grand piano as an audio source, but we can choose something else, of course. Then we are going to choose Surface Builder, as you can see here, as a MIDI processor, like so. And then we are also going to choose Surface Builder again as an audio processor, as an instrument. So as you can see, you can load it both as an instrument or as a MIDI processor, okay? Next, we are going to connect to the grand piano instance the two Surface Builder. So the first one, like so, okay. On port number 1, you can see you can use multiple ports. And then we are going to connect as well on the other instance, again, port number 1. I'm going to leave the MIDI channels as they are. That is no something that I'm going to change for the purposes of this demonstration. Let's open up Surface Builder and let's maximize it. As you can see, it's a bit of a deceiving application because it doesn't have a lot on the screen when you first open it. And it reminds a little bit of new rack effects as well from 4Pockets. So an empty screen at the center where you can create your surface. And then on the left-hand side, you have different controls. And as you can see, the top one is in this brighter light, white, and which signifies you can click on it. Click on it and you open up the menu. Now here you can create a new surface, load a new surface, open additional windows like the MIDI monitoring window to monitor MIDI messages, the audio pool window, which shows you the pool of audio files that you used, and samples, of course, WAV files. The scenes window, which shows you all the different scenes that you can use to minimize the complexity on your screen. And of course, a window with stock images, which is really handy because you can add stock images, for example, to a button. And let's click on it, and you can see it is empty at the moment, but it will change as you start to use it. Similarly, if we open, for example, the audio pool window, you can see there is already a file which I used before. And here you can create, delete, rename, move files, copy files. You can open up the file app, and therefore you can drag and drop, for example, files inside your pool. You can also drag and drop files against the button as well. You click on the X here to close it. And let me show you the scene windows as well. As you can see, you have different scenes, A to F. You can also import, for example, a surface inside a scene with only one surface. Then you can choose different parameters here for the zoom level. You can change the level of zoom. Let's close it there. And you can go to settings. You can change the setting for Bluetooth, of course, to connect it to your preferred MIDI controller, right? Or you can choose port mapping by default the one which is being used, or you can change it as well. And your output MIDI ports, your scene zoom mode, background mode on and off, the color for background and surface, additionally the surface size and style as well. Then you have, as always, in all the app from 4Pockets, you have a help manual, and which is really nice, always very well done from Paul from 4Pockets. And you also have an about, which tells you a little bit about the app. Now, let's click again on menu, and let's create a new surface. Now, it asks you to set the name, the width, the height, and then when you finish, click Create Surface. As you can see, you have a grid in the middle of the screen. That is your surface. And of course, the buttons here on the left-hand side have been highlighted in or are available now in this brighter white color. Okay, you have button to add object, delete them, go to options, undo, scenes as well for the selection, and you have this edit button which switches between this edit mode and this presentation mode. And when you are in edit mode, and which is the default when you create a surface, of course the edit pencil here is in blue. Next, you click on add, and this is where the fun starts. And you have a number of objects that you can, of course, use. And you can use different objects, and each one have different characteristics, and they're all incredibly helpful. So let's kick off with one of them, button. So here it is. You have a button, click and hold, and you can move it wherever you like on the screen. Okay, it moves up to grid. And when it is selected, you can see you have a red border. Of course, when it is not selected, that border goes away. Also, if you tap the corner here, the border becomes yellow, and you can change the size of that button. Okay, really nice. Now, as you click on it, so click outside, click on it again, you have this object properties window that appears. Here you can change coloring, okay, which can be really handy depending on what you are trying to do. Of course, you can change the label, you can change, the label in terms of name, you can change the visibility, the type of a style, which is really good. You can then access copy the color, paste the color, you can assign it to a group, set the margin, you can have a single state or dual state. This, of course, depends on the type of the control. And then you can set the state as normal or selective, for which you will change the color, of course. In terms of MIDI setup here, you have notes, control change, CC messages, program change, and pitch bend. Okay. Then you have the selection of the channel here, the selection of the port, and also the value depending on what you have selected here. So on program changes, it will change, right? You have value, and then you have bank and sub-bank, okay? And then you have CC, you have only the value, and then notes, you have the note there. When you're done, you can click on function, and this is where you choose the function that you want that button to act on. You can send MIDI, bulk MIDI, play chords, change a scene. So you can assign object to different scene. Really nice. You can show a high object. I remember earlier on I said that you can change the visibility of an object. You can say all notes off. You can change Bluetooth option. You can go to port mapping, hold pedal, play audio only one shot, mute the audio, pause all audio clips, audio clip, pause. Now, as an example, let's click play audio. Now, it says clip here, tap to choose a file. It just so happened that I already have a loaded one. But if you don't, click on file apps, okay? You can import a folder and export. You can click on import, and of course you have the screen which comes up to import. But now, I have already created classical console, imported a drum loop, so I'm going to use that one. So click, hold, and drag it here on the button. You can see it says drop audio file there. So there you go. It says drums loop wave file. Okay, let's close now this audio pool. Of course, you can set your output mapping here as well, specific to the button, Bluetooth, learn if you want to use the learn function. And in some cases, you have to save the changes you have made. Okay, and then these buttons are used to bring to change the object depth in terms of Z coordinate, so to move that the front or backwards. Okay, close that. Let's click on the edit button again to exit that edit mode, and we go in presentation mode. And now we have this button. Click on it. And of course, if we click again on it, it will stop. And as you can see, it's playing that loop. Really nice. You can go back to the edit mode and you can say, well, okay, what shall we do? Well, let's create another object. Okay, so for example, you could continue like that and you could say, let's add another button and choose something else you want that button to actually do. Okay, now you could, of course, remove that button, click on delete, and the button will be deleted. Of course, you have some option here, snap, selection, copy and paste, and duplicate for your interface. And as I said, here you can choose your scene as well. You can go to scene B, so the controls disappear. And of course, you go back to scene A, the control reappears. And that is really nice. And as I said, therefore, you can open up also the window here. If I go to open window and I go to scene windows and I can put it up there, okay? And then when you are in presentation mode, you can use these to move between the different scenes. Really nice indeed. Okay, so you can do other things. So let me show you again other controls. Let's say that we want to have a switch object like so. We just move it down here and we reselect it to open the object properties. Let's change the style, silver. Look how nice it is. Paul has done quite a bit of work in terms of actually ensuring that it looks pleasing. It looks nice. So let's say that we go to functions and we, for example, why not? Let's see what function we are going to choose. We can say audio clip pause. It says which one? Well, the drum loop. Okay. Now let's close this one. Let's go in presentation mode, drum loop, pause. Click again, resume, or click on the button to stop. Of course, you can continue like this. And you can create a fantastic surface where you have a lot of different controls. And you can build, for example, like a drum pad, a drum machine, and you can put play, stop controls and different clips that you can play yourself. Okay, now let's go to the MIDI processor and let's open this up. Again, similar interface, nothing changed. Let's select a new surface now and let's create a surface. Now let me show you how to resize the surface. Click on the menu again and then select resize. Now you can change the width like so, you can increase it and also the height as well. Okay, so really, really nice. Now click on add. Now let me show you this object which is called keyboard object and let's click on it and you have this fantastic keyboard object. So let's drag it down here and then let's resize it, which like so, a lot of space. Okay. Now let's go in presentation mode and as you can see, you can click on the keys and you can also change the position here. Okay, but as you can hear, there's no sound, although the connection has been done with Grand Piano. So let's go back to edit and let's go inside and select the object properties, okay? So use your properties, of course, but then here you have channel and it says off. So let's activate that channel. You can see the save button has changed, click on save. Let's close this. Let's go back to presentation mode and now it plays. Really, really nice. Okay, so, and let me show you something else as well, which you might love. Let's go to add objects, and let's say that we want to load, for example, a chord strip object. Okay, there it is. Really nice, and you can add as many as you like, of course, depending on the surface that you have available. So click on it, okay, to activate the object properties. Now, where it says here function, it says play chord, which is what you would expect. And under data, it will open up these additional window where it allows you to choose the chord, like so, C. And then you can choose also the type of chord, C minor. And then you can choose here the octave as well. When you're done, of course, exit, go in presentation mode. Really nice. And of course, go back into the properties. You could change the channel. So these could have gone to different channels and connected to a different audio unit. And therefore, you can start to build your own arrangers, right? Really, really nice. I really love this. I really love the controller. Is something I wished in the past Paul has built, and now he has. So it's great news. Now you can add, for example, text object as well, which of course you can therefore customize yourself. You can add image object like so, which you can position on the screen, right? And you can change the style. You can change the aspect to between fit and fill. You can paste an image, etc., etc. A lot of different controls. Experiment with them because they are very easy to understand. You can add the rotary object, and this one has some really nice style. Let's go, for example, to silver. Look how nice it is. And what you can do with controls like these, knobs like these, you can actually set them to send CC messages, and then you can decide the value there. Okay, click save, the channel, the port, and then you can use these to manipulate, for example, a parameter inside a synth or a parameter inside another type of a UV3 app. Okay, so you can create a box object. You can create another keyboard object. You can create a light object as well, which receive Midis, and it can highlight those Midi messages that I received. You can create a switch object, a fader, which is really, really nice, and you can change the style of the fader as you like, right? So you can actually do quite a bit. And of course, remember to save your surface when you finished. Okay. Now, let me show you something else cool for this first video. Let's go inside Logic Pro for iPad. Let's click on Create Project. Let's click on Tracks. Now, let's add a MIDI track with a nice sampler there. Nothing really special. Let's duplicate that. Okay, on the second one, what we are going to do is to close the play surface here, go to the plugin editors, okay, click on the sample and hold, and let's select replace. Now let's replace that with, for example, red strike. Quite different, okay? So this is what they sound like. Red strike. Okay, nice and simple. And of course, the instrument 1, play surface. Nice and simple. Okay, so let's select multiple and let's select both tracks like so. Let's go back to trim, click on the first one to select it and get the menu, and then create a summing stack. Okay, now on this summing stack, and let's select only the summing stack. It is selected now. It is the first one. We are on plugin editor or view. Click on audio effect and choose surface builder. Okay. Now double click that surface builder, open it up. As you can see, you don't have delays as other UV-free app. In terms of refreshing the screen is much quicker. Create a surface. And yeah, and new surface instead of clear, and click on create surface. Okay, perfect. Let's resize it a bit, and let's make it definitely wider and also a little bit taller as well, or higher. Okay, let's add objects now, and let's add a keyboard object, and we move it down there, and we also resize it like so. Next, let's add another keyboard object, and let's put it up there, and let's do this. Now, on this first keyboard down here, we select channel number 1 and click save. On the second one, we select channel number 2. Click save. You need to remember to click save. Now let's go back to presentation mode and we see those two keyboards. Okay. Now, they don't play any sounds, okay? But I'll come back to these in a moment and explain you why that doesn't work. But first of all, let's go to the inspector. And for this first track, we just say to receive only from MIDI channel 1. And for this second one, to receive only from MIDI channel number 2. Close the inspector, go back to the main track, go to the plugin editor, double click on Surface Builder again. Maximize the window. Okay, so we are in presentation mode, but it doesn't play anything. Okay, go back in edit mode, click the first keyboard, and where it says here, this icon of MIDI, click on it, and where it says port to number 1, change that to Logic Pro Virtual In as a port. Okay, close, come out of edit mode. Okay, let me retry again. So close that surface, just go back to the sum one. Yeah, there you are. Okay, got stuck for a moment. So on the keyboard below, we can play the first instrument. On the keyboard above. So as you can see, absolutely great. You can control different tracks and build your own surface inside that main track and keep going. I hope you enjoyed the introductory tutorial and demonstration on Surface Builder from 4Pockets. It's an amazing app. I recommend it, and I'm sure Paul will continue to develop it further as he normally does with other apps. I hope you enjoy. See you next time. Bye.